Good afternoon, this is DurianP Productions. Today we have a Huawei Matebook X Pro 2019 version. It houses a 8th generation Intel Core i5 CPU with an Nvidia MX250 discrete GPU. It has 14-inch 3K display. Well, this version is from China and originally it is a Linux OS. Now let's open box it.
Huawei 的机器配件我就不多介。
We will skip the accessories part because all Huawei laptops only comes with one Type-C cable and a Type-C charger. Some adapters, but those are very minor. The laptop feels solid on hand. It's very similar to the space gray model from Matebook 13 to 14. It's very hard to tell the difference. You'll feel slightly a bit better craftsmanship compared to the lower end Huawei laptops, but not really much. The gray is almost exactly the same, so is the logo. Well, whether the cost, approximately 50% more cost, will justify its slight improvement against its Matebook 13 and 14 siblings, well, this is up to your choice. One strange part is that at the bottom panel, there's no window for cool fan to go inside. It's similar to MacBook Pro's design, that the wind is coming from side. We're actually expecting a bit of overheating problem from this laptop or some performance issues. Something I do not really like about this laptop is the Nvidia logo. It's green and not really harmonious with the color. It has one USB Type-A port at right side and another side, two USB Type-C port, one charging, another general Type-C with one headphone jack. There's nothing too much on the laptop and you cannot expect good expandability from this laptop. The metallic body has some shiny edges, which actually looks pretty good. Talking about the daily usage, one of the inconvenient parts is that you cannot use the single hand to open. This is kind of a habit for people using touchscreen laptops or especially convertibles. If you buy Lenovo or HP or Dell laptop, generally those old manufacturers will not have such a problem. We just remove the plastic paper with instructions on top and take a look at the inside. The screen looks almost bezel-less when you do not turn the screen on. It's full black. The keyboard is pretty good actually, though the travel is pretty short, but the response is very confirmative and you are confident that you have pressed the keyboard, not something like a low-end keyboard you press and cannot feel. Well, this is not definitely say that it's a top keyboard like ThinkPad, but it's good. The same also applies to the trackpad. It's pretty responsive, not top-notch. Well, a bonus point for the large area for the trackpad. Some special functions for Huawei laptop. Huawei Share works perfectly with Huawei phones, and also at the right top side, the fingerprint sensor integrated into a power button. Also, the camera is hidden inside the keyboard. For those who always do web meetings, you will feel that the angle is a bit awkward. Well, if you do not do that, it's a good feature. Now let us power it on. Just be sure that the LCD leaking is not as strong as on the screen. It's actually pretty decent. We have already set up the Linux version in Windows on the background. The speed is pretty swift, actually amazing. It's not really like a 2-year or 1.5-year platform. We are facing some technical issues from the Microsoft Edge. Let us try again whether we can go online. Still cannot. This is strange. Oh, okay, everything's fine after we restart the browser. Now we are having COVID pandemic across the earth, and the internet speed is a bit slower, so I'm not going to comment on this. Let me open a common YouTube video to check out the sound and display quality. But it's not as impressive as the Lenovo C940, which can rock a table and kill the cheap $30-40 soundbars, which we bought from Amazon. Well, it's still a very good one. The display quality is also pretty good. A very premium 3K display, what you will expect generally from high quality display. Additionally, the laptop can support the touch screen. One of the most frequent use feature is that you mirror your Huawei phone screen onto the laptop so that you can control by touch on your laptop your phone. As for the specs, let us open i5-64. It houses something like 8.5 or 9th generation Intel i5 CPU, 4-core, 8-thread. It's a very good performer. It has no too much difference even with the latest 10th generation Intel CPUs. It has a 56 watt-hour battery. Actually, it's now around 59 watt-hours. The discharge rate is around 5 watts, which tells you that in idle mode, you are going to get approximately 11-12 hours battery life, while if put to work, then it's about 7-8 hours, approximately 60-70% of the maximum battery life. It's doing a pretty good job considering it has a 3K high resolution display. This is much better than its counterpart, Lenovo C940, which can only last about 5 hours for work generally. One of the not so good part about this laptop is the LPDDR3 RAM from this laptop. The maximum speed is only 34 gigabytes, and additionally, it is only 8 gigabytes of RAM. 8 gigabytes is definitely a bit small in 2020 year. If you run something like Photoshop, then it will be pretty small. As for the GPU, it has MX250. The storage is a Samsung one, PM981A, a very good one of the top solid-state drive in the world. The display is from the Japanese maker JDI. Unfortunately, I cannot find any information online. While it has a 3K by 2K resolution with a 260 ppi, this is a pretty good one, 100% sRGB color gamut. It's decent enough if you are going to do some general CAD or photo editing or video editing. The screen is good enough. The internet is provided by Intel AC9560. In some common benchmark tools, the Cinebench R15, the OpenGL about 97 frames per second is kind of average for MX250. It's much better, about twice better than the integrated graphics, while it's on the lower side compared to its counterpart MX250, which can run about 100 frames per second, which tells that this laptop had slightly performance issues. The CPU the same way. For this CPU, it's easy to go to 600 plus, while this model can only get around 500. The CPU single core is pretty decent, around 160, and this basically determines the everyday speed, and that's why we are feeling pretty smooth while handling it. The solid-state drive has a 3.7K total score in SSD benchmark. Take note that we are running 10 gigabytes in total. The BMD raw test has a good number in GPU side with CUDA 25 frames per second, while for CPU side it's a bit mediocre considering it's an Intel CPU, while it's still much better than the third generation Ryzen 3000 CPUs, which can at most give you a 10-11 frames per second on CPU side. It's definitely a good performer if you're comparing this laptop to its AMD counterparts. Now let us open i5-8265 to stress the CPU along and check the system stability and the performance output in the long run. In idle setup, the temperature is around 50-60 Celsius degree. After pressing the start button, the frequency clocks to 2.9 GHz with a 23-watt power envelope. This is not really good, because even in the highest performance, it cannot reach 3 GHz, which is a limit. The temperature is around 70 plus Celsius degree, and once it's approaching 80, the CPU envelope is restricted to a 15-watt envelope, and then the frequency 2.3 GHz. This type of performance output basically focus on the temperature, while it neglects those users who need a bit more performance. It keeps the temperature low, while it keeps the performance low as well. After a few minutes of stability test, we see that the CPU power is only 7-8 watts, which is really low, and the frequency is around 1.5-1.6 gigahertz. This is basically not usable for any type of productivity software. Although we are running on battery, well, this basically simulates the everyday life when we take out our laptop doing video editing in Starbucks and for just a few hours, 5-6 hours. This tells you that you basically cannot do this, and be reminded that for such a lightweight laptop, get a power charger with you. Now we go to the dual stress test for both CPU and GPU. It's very interesting that although we assume there is some overheating issues for this laptop, the CPU still has the same frequency range, as if the single stress test, neglecting GPU, is also taking significant power from the system and producing a large amount of heat. The CPU frequency quickly drops to 2.1 GHz, and the MX250 drops to 0.8 GHz, which is approximately half of its maximum frequency. Huawei's tactic is pretty interesting. It allows both CPU and GPU some kind of running at its half speed. Let us keep it running for approximately 5 minutes and then get back. Now you can hear very obvious fan sound. It's a bit noisy. The fan quality is not as premium as its price tag. This is too large for its price tag, not even noise. Now the CPU temperature is around 75 Celsius degree with a power envelope 8 watts, same as single stress test with 1.5, 1.6 GHz frequency. This tells you that in single CPU test, Huawei didn't really work on it. It actually should be able to run at a significantly higher clock ratio. As for GPU, it dropped to 600 plus MHz, 0.6 GHz. So it's something like a quarter to a half MX250 than the maximum frequency. So do not expect good gaming performance from this laptop. It will be better than those integrated graphics, kind of better, but definitely it's not going to match those from Lenovo, which has very high performance MX250.